please have your attention? I've just been handed an urgent and horrifying news story. And I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
Canes Calling is brought to you by SeatGeek. Use promo code Canes Calling for $20 off your first order. And About the Fans. Use promo code CCI for 50% off your entire order.
What is going on, Canes fam? I am MattyIcee and Tony V. And this is Canes Calling live. And we're joined by a very special guest, Tony. Who do we have with us tonight?
Our boy Ryan Raskin, baby.
What's up?
Yeah, filling in tonight.
So, hey, this is
a long time coming, guys. Long time coming.
I know. This is
we've had
definitely
this in the
an
works for a
improvement.
while, man.
Definitely an improvement.
Yeah.
So we all have something in common. We all in some way contribute for the OBB legend. So really cool. If you aren't a part of that, make sure you check it out. All of us. I think Ryan, you write some articles as well too, right? Because I know you're moderating some stuff as well.
Yes, less than I should be, but busy with life. So I get more to it. Actually, it's funny when I go on deployment, I'll actually be able to write a little bit more. I don't have any responsibilities. So
yeah. No, I know exactly what you mean. It had been like a month since I posted anything, and I was like, ooh.
Yeah.
But I got stuff in the works, right? That's all that matters, right?
Yeah.
So we got a loaded show today. We're going to talk about we're going to recap the Virginia Tech game. We're going to talk about the game against Duke. There's some Canes hoops things that I just wanted to touch on a little bit. We got our really random rankings. I do not have a Reddit thing. I have a random question that we can talk about though, that I think it'll be interesting. I forgot to print out all the paper strips and put them in the mug like we always do.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it should be a good one. But with that being said, do you guys want to get into our really random rankings?
Let's do it.
Oh yeah. All right, so for this edition of the Really Random Rankings, we are doing our top 5 guys that should have been Miami Hurricanes. So I kind of went a little different with this approach. I know most people think only football. I'm a guy that loves the basketball team as well, so I kind of went both ways with it. So I had to switch it up a little bit on you guys. Who wants to go first? Tony, you want to go first?
Yeah, I'll go first.
Okay, there we go. Let's go.
Really hard to keep it to just 5 people.
Yeah.
And and I only did football, which is.
Oh, I was about to say, Mijo, you probably put some baseball players on there.
No, I mean, I could have. There's one baseball player that sticks out, and that's Christian Yelich. But he's done pretty well for himself.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have 3 on the outside looking in. I have Jerry Jeudy. I have either one of the Bosa brothers, and I have Chad Johnson. Just because he would have been phenomenal as a Hurricane.
All right, so he's more of like a wild card,
he's the wild card guy.
I just wanted him to be a fucking.
He was never going to be a Cane, but it would have been fun to see him in a Hurricanes uniform. All right, so my number 5 is Levante David. It just sucks to see a very local kid like that end up anywhere else, especially when it's fucking Florida State.
He was good, man.
He was good at Florida State. Number 4, any one of those American Heritage cornerbacks that Mike Rumpf was supposed to get us. Any one of them. Any one of the 4 or 5 of them would have been nice.
That's just your 1 through 20.
Yeah, for real. Number 3, I put Amari Cooper. You could have gone. There's also 4 or 5 receivers you could have put in there. Number 2, this one hurts. Number 2 and number 1 hurt a lot. Number 2 is Dalvin Cook.
Okay.
Another guy who not only he's just owned Hard Rock Stadium as a Seminole and as a Minnesota Viking, apparently. And number 1, Teddy Bridgewater, man. He's the number 1 right there. He would have changed a lot with this program if he would have chose us versus Louisville.
Yeah.
Or if, Golden would have continued to recruit him.
Yeah, apparently.
Yeah.
What about you, Ryan? Who you got on your 5?
It's actually, we talked about not all having the same people, and well, I do, but a little bit different order. Number 5 for me is Pat Surtain 2. I was sad when he picked Georgia. No, Alabama. Yeah,
Alabama,
sorry. Yeah. I was really sad, man. That was rough for me, knowing Rumpf was his former head coach, and and just knowing what he already is. Like, we already knew he was going to be this, and it's just, it could have been absolutely. I mean, granted, now Manny might have still been our head coach if he would have landed Pat Surtain, or Rick would have, I guess, but or less. Number 4 for me, Calvin Ridley. I know people, will go crazy about any number of the Alabama wide receivers that chose them over us. Yada yada yada. He was a game changer for me, which leads me to number 3, which is Judy, and he was actually committed to us. So that was, to me, like, that was actually like push. And at the time we were just all ragging on him, you're off this like prep school in Connecticut, yada yada yada, and well, where he's at today. 2, Teddy Bridgewater, man. At the time of his coming up, in college football and everything, it would have worked out really, really nicely for us. He's a local kid, obviously. He still coaches for Northwestern. I saw him, putting up plays for Northwestern week 1 when he had a bye week or something like that.
Yeah.
No, not even when he had a bye week. He's in Miami, obviously. So
he was at Traz, one of those games that Northwestern was there. He was on the sideline.
On the sideline, like, he's just Miami all the way through.
Yeah,
and
man.
I think that would have been such a good story for us to have kept. And number 1, Dalvin Cook, man. There's no other. I can't spin it any other way. The guy absolutely demolished us every single time he played us.
Yep.
And we ranked his teammate ahead of him, and it totally burned us for a long, long time. I kind of feel like Dalvin, like, not taking. It's not that we didn't take Dalvin Cook. I think obviously we would have taken him, but the fact that he didn't feel like he was prioritized for Miami at the time, and him having to go to a rival and then absolutely destroy us, I think it has everything to do with that. I mean, I think he's even talked about, like, how he performs better against Miami because he feels like
slighted.
Slighted, yeah, exactly. And that always hurt, man. I was there. I was there for 2015. I was there for 2017. 2017 was a lot happier, but 2015, sitting in shit Campbell Stadium, watching him run all over us was depressing. I had a sign that said "Fire Al Golden," by the way. But yeah,
attaboy.
Yeah, man.
So I didn't really do like a ranking of top 5 in order. I just kind of listed out names. I have like 9 names listed on here too, and I want to see if some of these names are valid. I want to see if some of these names are valid, because I kind of went a little like, I don't know if you would be able to count some of these names, so I want to get your guys' opinion. But I had Teddy Bridgewater. You guys already mentioned him. I had Calvin Ridley as well. And then I also had, who was my last one? Oh, I had the Bosa Bros, but I counted them as one because I figured if one came, they kind of both. It's
for
like
sure.
a package deal. So, I saw like addition, but via that way.
I will be honest, though, from what I have heard, they were never, ever even thinking about Miami.
Yeah.
Not just a little bit.
Yeah.
Wasn't even, they didn't take a visit. They didn't do anything. They didn't give a shit. It wasn't us.
Yeah, they're just local kids, So
they're just technically local. Their kids, their parents are from Ohio or some shit.
Yeah. So, and then I have 3 names for hoops. So I want to get your guys'. I know you guys aren't as big on college hoops as I am, but I have 3 names, and these 3 guys all have something in common. They all visited Miami, and we actually played like a significant part in their recruitment. The first one is John Collins. Obviously, he's on the Hawks right now, playing with Trae Young. Yeah. He was someone. He played in West Palm Beach, class of 2016. Those were the 2 years where Miami made the tournament, lost in the first round. So I think he could have contributed a lot. Next name I have Jalen Duren, just from like the last cycle. Obviously, he was a one and done player at Memphis. I think he could have contributed to this past season immensely too. You never know. He would have added a new dimension. I know we went far with the small ball lineup. And then the last one that I wasn't even aware of that we recruited this guy was Josh Hart, who obviously played at Villanova for 4 years, won a national championship with them. And he would have kind of came in during, I don't want to say the golden era, but the era in the 2013, 2017, when we had, some runs, we were making the tournament. We had the Sweet 16 run, and then made the tournament twice as well. So those are a few guys, but I want to get your guys' opinions on 2 other names. One I saw in the comments, and I think it was Sony Michel, which I didn't even realize he was from South Florida. I don't know why I didn't realize that.
I think he's another one of the. I think it's another Heritage guy.
Yeah, he's a Broward kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So that was one that I saw, and then kind of random, I did some like research, and because I was not big into recruiting when I first started really following the Canes and really getting into it. I was more of like a casual, but Derrick Henry. Did you know that he went to a camp for Miami?
Yes, I do.
Like back when he was like, I think it was when he was a freshman or sophomore. So I was like, can we kind of fit that one in there? Obviously, Heisman Trophy winner.
Yeah, no, but that's the thing. Derrick Henry, he grew up an Alabama fan. He's from Yulee, Florida, which is over in the Panhandle, I think.
Yeah.
Right? The Alabama border. And I mean, he went to a lot of camps when he was like a freshman and sophomore. But I think like he was like the original like kid that like, like how we see these like pictures of like, like someone sitting next to Nick Saban, he offered them as like an 8th grader or whatever. He was like the OG of that. Like he was just like as an 8th grader. Yeah. And
he was the first helicopter kid.
That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah. He was the first helicopter kid. Yeah. A kid that we can, someone we can add is Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, that's what I was
going to say. That's another obvious one. That's what I was thinking. But I already had QB, and but the only one I was going to put twice was wide receiver because we missed on so many.
Yeah, so many.
We
could have added corners also. That's why I grouped the Heritage guys, Surtain, and there's a couple of the guy who Surtain went to Bama. One of them went to Florida State. I forget who the one with the Florida State was.
Junior, Asante Samuel.
Asante Samuel.
Yep. And then the guy who went to Georgia. God damn it. Yeah, I'm forgetting his name right now. But yes, it was because they were in the same class as Nesta, and the linebacker went to Florida, and Nesta came to us, and then the cornerbacks went to Bama and Georgia.
Yeah.
Surtain went to Bama, and then the other corner, I cannot remember his name right now.
That was the same Tyreek year, wasn't it?
Tyreek Stevenson?
Yeah, Tyreek was 2018.
No, I think that was like a year after, 2 years after.
I think it was a year after too.
But this is his 4th year in college, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he would have graduated 2018.
Yeah, and this is Surtain's second year in the NFL.
That was the 2017 class, I think.
Yeah.
Dang. Yeah. Oh man, a lot of names.
Let's transition into the hoops, since you want to touch on the hoops.
Oh, a little bit. Yeah. So I don't know if you guys saw, the ACC came out with like a conference prediction. They had us listed 4th. We were behind. I think North Carolina was 1, Duke was 2, and Virginia was 3.
Which makes sense, right?
Yeah, it makes sense. Virginia returns like a lot of guys. I think they literally return everyone. Jaden Gardner's back. Kihei Clark. They have a good roster. Tony Bennett's a great coach. I think that they're going to be better this season. I mean, they beat us twice last season, and I don't think that's like fluky at all. I personally have us third because I think our roster, like the depth, is immensely better. I think that's what kind of hurt us in some games last season. That's what hurt us in the tournament against Kansas. Jordan Miller and Sam Wardenberg both got injured. Guys that weren't playing specific roles had to play more minutes and stuff and do things that they weren't used to doing.
The last game there was like a 6-man rotation or something crazy, right? The
last
game of the tournament, the game we got.
Yeah, and I mean, like, they were playing major minutes, and I think it's going to be a lot different this season. They've had like 3 top 25 recruiting classes in a row, so I think they're building that depth now. And really? Obviously they add 2 transfers. Yeah, they're okay. When I say top 25, it's like border top 25. It's not like, you know what I mean? Yeah, like I think last year was 25 and the year before was 24, and I don't know about the year before that, what that one was.
I mean, that's still pretty, honestly, amazing. Really.
Yeah, for how their teams had been performing, before with all the injuries and stuff the last few years. No, it is pretty amazing. But the one thing I want to say, like, the purpose of this like prediction, this poll, like it doesn't mean anything. Like last season, when you look, the top teams that were, I think FSU was projected to finish second, and they didn't even make the tournament. They finished like 8th or 9th in the ACC last season. Wake Forest was picked to finish 13th, and we were picked to finish 12th. And both those teams, were like top 5, top 6 in the ACC. So college basketball is insane. It's less predictable than college football. You just never know what's going to happen, But I think the one major thing that you can take from this is there are expectations this season, and rightfully so. This is an improved roster. I think that there's obviously, we talk about the depth. There's no reason why this team, let me just put it this way. The floor of this team should be making the NCAA tournament, in my opinion.
That's the floor.
That's the floor. So that's my opinion of everything. I'm excited for the season to start. It's less than 2 weeks away, so it's gonna be coming up here really quick.
Yeah, you're gonna have to help me out with my how I view this season, man, because I gotta be honest, I know so little about college basketball until it turns March 1st.
Tournament time.
No, I got you, man, because
you helped us out so much this past year too, man. It's like, yeah, seriously, man.
Yeah, man. No, of course.
Who's our starting 5 going to be?
Yeah, so that's what's interesting. So I think obviously Isaiah Wong, he was a starter last season, coming back. He's going to be
go up and down sometimes, though, man. It drives me.
That's the biggest thing. And I think too, like as a player, when you don't have like a consistent jump shot, it kind of limits you offensively. I'm kind of expecting him. I saw some clips of him in shooting, and also Bensley Joseph, the backup point guard from last season, shooting, and both their shots look a lot better than how they were the past season. But I have him in the starting 5. Jordan Miller, you guys know how I feel about Jordan Miller. Obviously, he's going to be in the starting 5. I was kind of surprised. Well, I shouldn't say I was surprised, but Coach L came out and said that he has all ACC potential to make an all ACC team. And I was kind of surprised that he came out and said that about an individual. So I'm really excited for him. And then I think Norchard O'Meara, the transfer from Arkansas State, definitely going to start. I think that he's where we're going to miss Wardenberg in some areas. He's going to bring like a new dimension in terms of dominance defensively. And I have a student of the game coming out next week, so I don't want to get too much into it. But I think, people are worried about, are we still going to be able to stretch the floor with him on the floor? And I was kind of impressed with his shot. I think there's potential for him to, kind of extend his range, maybe even to the 3-point line. So I'm interested in seeing that this season. And then who are my 2 other starters? I'm like blanking out right now.
Nigel Pack?
Yeah, Nigel Pack. Yeah. I thought I had already listed him. Yeah, over 40% from three, Kansas State. Honestly, super efficient, really good with the ball. And I think the most underrated thing about him is his defense. He was graded out as one of the best defenders in college basketball last season. And the one thing that really stuck out to me, watching film when I did the student of the game, is he's rarely out of position. He's always where he needs to be. He's always going to help out. Kind of reminds me of Jordan Miller in that way. He knows where to rotate. And if I had, obviously, like, I don't want to bag on Charlie Moore, but if I had one thing to say about him defensively, it was kind of, there was sometimes he was out of position and other players kind of had to step up for him. Still a great on-ball defender, but I think there's a difference on-ball, off-ball defense. And then, honestly, the last spot is the toughest because I think you could go a few different ways. Coach Ellis talked about having 4 guards out, so, will it be Harlan Beverly, who was injured last season, coming in and starting? Will he decide to go bigger and have Anthony Walker starting, someone that, has athleticism? And I think, he's been someone that's been really working in the offseason. He's been actually working out with Jack McClinton, former Miami Hurricane. Yeah. So I'm interested in seeing that. The 5th spot, I'm just not sure about. I wouldn't even be surprised if someone like Ja'Kai Robinson kind of has separated himself. He sat out for a season. He was a freshman last year. He redshirted. Do they go with Bensley, Joseph? It's, Wooga Poplar, I don't know. That's the thing. We have so much more depth this season. So, I could see it in a multitude of different ways.
Do we have, is it more so like a higher amount of players on the team, like on the roster, or is it just more talent on the roster?
No, more talent. Definitely more talent. I think we've had a decent amount of players on the team. I think that obviously we've had injuries. Not last season. We were very lucky last season that we didn't have any major injuries. There was a couple guys that, missed a game here or there. But this season, I definitely see us. Last season, I'd say we had like a 7-man rotation during the regular season. Right. I would say 7, 8, maybe. I would say I could see us having like 8 to 9, maybe even 10-man rotation almost. So, and I think I think the thing that could happen too is it's matchups, right? Like, so depending on who we play, maybe, the freshman that the freshman center we got, Favor Ayer, I still have to learn how to say his name. There's a game maybe he could play. It just depends what we're looking for matchup wise, if that makes sense. Yeah. And that's something we didn't have last season. So.
Right.
But yeah.
Well, looking back on that Kansas game, it was just like, I didn't even know if it was like, you're obviously going to, analyze this a lot better than I am, but it just felt like we had no answer for their one point guard. And I forgot his name.
Remy Martin.
Yeah, Remy, man. Yeah. That guy was electric against us. We could do nothing against him. And granted, every position they kind of just out-joed us where they were like, holy shit. I was like, that was the first game where I really started paying attention to March. Obviously, I have so much shit going on, so I can't watch everything. But when March comes around, I'll always watch the Canes, and if they're in it, at least. But that was the first game where I really felt like it was just like, we're fucking outmatched, man. Like there's nothing we can do. Like it really felt like there was nothing we could do. But,
well, and I think too the main thing, like, before we start getting into football, I don't want to dive into this too much, but I think the main thing is our margin for error last season was so much smaller than other teams because we only had 6 players that really were the key contributors. It's hard to rely on these freshmen that, are, not expected to take that much of a role, in the postseason, especially at that time. And you look at Kansas and everyone that got, they won the championship. And then, you look, they have I think they had Ochai Agbaji got drafted, Christian Brown in the first round. Both those guys went first round. A few of the other guys too are on NBA teams as well. So they have that NBA talent. And that's something that, if we want to compete at that level, that you got to build. It's just like in football, right? You have to stack classes, acquire talent, that blue chip ratio, right?
Yeah.
But yeah,
I remember Abaji killed us that game too, man. He really turned out, especially in the second half.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that was so bad. Funny story. I was not really like 100% watching that game because we were at a wedding. What do you call it? A wedding. Like where you see all the vendors and stuff. I can't think of the name right now. Yeah, like a wedding show thing. And so I just got super plastered there because there was a bunch of bartenders. Because I was watching it and we were down by like 20, and I like turned it off, and I was like, yeah, I can't do this, and I just got wasted.
It was honestly a quick turn off for me, man. It went downhill pretty quickly.
Yep.
Yeah. So, but yeah, you guys ready to get into some football, man?
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
All right, so let's get into this Virginia Tech game, man. Canes obviously ended up getting the win. 2014. They got off to a hot start. They were playing really well at the beginning. Offense, I think they scored 17 points in the first half. It was 17-0, right?
Yeah.
It got to 20-0 at one point at the end of the third quarter.
It did. It did. Okay. You let them come back. Obviously, at the end of the game, you're kind of on your edge of the seat. Honestly, man, it's frustrating to me because, like, I thought this was the first time we're gonna see like a complete game, and that didn't happen. We almost could have lost this game, and this game easily, could have and should have, in my opinion, been a blowout. What were your guys' main takeaways, Ryan? What was your main takeaways from this game?
My main takeaway is, I thought it was going to be a bit more of a complete game from us. We're going to need more, one this week, and we'll get into that obviously. But it was more so, I have seen this coaching staff be able to make second half adjustments so far, and they probably didn't feel like they needed to make any second half adjustments this past week because we were up 17-0 and we were dominating in all phases of the game. 17 penalties is not going to do it. I had to rewatch that. I had to watch the game when I got home Sunday because I was at a wedding, banned fall weddings, by the way. I was in Texas for a wedding. I was on TCU's campus for a wedding, by the way. When they had that huge comeback overtime victory against Oklahoma State. It was nuts. A whole bunch of girls in sundresses and boots and all that kind of, stuff. But nevertheless, it
sounds horrible.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it was terrible. Don't get me wrong. Yeah. When it comes to the Canes, it's like there's just something new every single week, man. Roman brings it up all the time. We find different ways to lose, and I think people, might have overreacted a little bit because. Yes, they did score 2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter. They improvised. We held them in the third quarter. They obviously came out with everything that they had against us at home.
Homecoming.
We have to score more points than that. That's it. We have to score more points. We have to absolutely beat the will to survive, out of these teams. When you're beating them that badly, you have to score 30, 40 points. Otherwise, you're giving them the option to stay in the game. 20-point, 17-point lead isn't that much anymore. It just isn't. You know what I mean? And so I think my biggest takeaway this week, and the biggest thing that I want to see fixed is what Roman talked about with the 10 seconds left on the clock. You're snapping the ball. That's a very easy thing to fix. And that drove me absolutely insane. That to me, that's the most unacceptable thing so far, and it has to be changed. That's the most. That's perhaps the most worrying thing that I've seen about Mario so far. And there's been a lot of worrying things so far. That's been the most. It's his game clock management. Yeah.
Yeah. For me, it was more of, especially the fourth quarter when you're up 20-0. Let's be real. The defense dominated the entire game. Okay, they allowed a Power 5 team to score 14 points. And a lot of those 14 points, well, all the 14 points were in the fourth quarter during garbage time. So, like, the defensive line had 6 sacks. Like, the Virginia Tech's offense is horrible. And that helped us, obviously.
Yeah.
My biggest thing and what I was frustrated with was the fact that Virginia Tech's defense adjusted and our offense didn't do jack shit to adjust to what their adjustments were. That's what drove me fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Virginia Tech came out in the second half and said, TVD, you're done. You're done here. You're not going to throw the ball anymore. You're not going to get these deep shots anymore. So we were with, 4 and 5 man boxes. That's when you take your 240-pound redshirt sophomore running back in Thad Franklin and you ram it down their fucking throats. But, Gaddis decided, no, you know what? We're just going to go with 5 or 6 3-and-outs, and with 6 minutes left, let's do a 45-second drive, throw the ball 3 times, and, almost cop up the game. If that game was 2 minutes longer, we would have lost.
Yeah.
What
was it? After that field goal?
He's incompetent at this point, man.
He's – I don't know what it –
incompetent. I do not understand what's going on. He's doing the you can run the ball and then you can't run the ball, but you can pass the ball. And then the one time that,
we need you to run the ball. Yeah.
Who's in control? I really want to know who is in control of this. Is it Mario? Is it TVD? Who, Gaddis? What is going on?
Not an X's and O's guy. I think it stems from that. I think if Mario were a little more of an X's and O's guy, maybe it would help a little bit. But I think Gaddis has full control of what plays come down to TVD. I don't know what kind of control TVD has after that. But like that 45-second drive with 6 minutes left, Virginia Tech shouldn't have gotten the ball back, honestly. Like that game should have ended on that drive. But he decided to run the wide receiver swing pass, which he had run 3 or 4 times in the game before. And every time we ran it in the second half, Virginia Tech sniffed it out because it was the same motion. It was a 3-by-1 set. Brashard did his little swing, and the corner every time in the second half, the corner would jump the route and hit it for a tackle for loss. So that drive started with that, and then right there, 2nd and 13 with 6 minutes left, and then you're fucked. Then you got to throw the ball, and you got to force TV. You got to force TVD to make plays. It's for Gaddis in the offense is always 1 step forward, 2 steps back with helping TVD and giving us a complete game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know, man. It was the second half was so frustrating.
Let me ask you guys, what % of us struggling to run the ball do you think was because of Parrish being out and because of Ja'Kai being out? Because you have to admit, there's a huge dropout.
It's just going to affect the whole offense. I'd say we're like 10 to 20% worse without Ja'Kai.
I agree, 100%. I think that's bigger than Parrish.
Yeah,
because
and I love Parrish, but like the thing is with Thad, what do you average? 6.5 yards per carry.
Yeah, it was 6 yards a carry, but he got 4 carries.
4 carries.
Yeah.
4 carries for the dude who's trucking guys over, always falls forward, but you're giving it to the guy who fumbles the ball and can't.
Yeah, I'm done. I love Rooster. I love his electricity on the field, but miss me with that running between the fucking tackle shit, bro. Like that's it. I'm done.
Dude,
I'm done with that shit. No,
I'll be honest, man. He's a one-cut scat back man. You throw it to him over the top. You get him in the
wheel route out of the backfield, the screenplay.
I'm fine with that, man. I'm fine with that. The guy cannot break a tackle. He can't.
Yeah. I don't want him being the only back on the field anymore.
No,
like bring him in a double back set. Bring him in motion. Give him a handoff on a jet sweep or something. But I don't want him running between the tackles anymore. It's just it doesn't work, man. It doesn't work. He's got no vision. He's definitely not. He definitely doesn't have the same quickness he had last season. I don't know if he's still, nursing some of the injuries he's had, but he's just not the same guy, And then, losing Citizen was huge. That's the guy I feel like, man, what would he have looked like right now in this offense? Like, how would this offense look? But again, we're without Ja'Kai Clark. We're without Zion Nelson, so we've had to reshuffle our offensive line. Justice Olo was shown now is hurt.
Sucks.
Olowin no show.
Yeah, Olowin no show.
Yeah.
Sagopolo also not very good in Justice's place. But I think like Ryan said, it all stems from Ja'Kai Clark, man. And it happened last year too. The offensive line was horrible until he replaced Corey Gaynor last year. And we're going through the same thing.
Thank God we got Tripp because Tripp, right? I got the name right. Yeah. Interior offensive lineman coming in for this class, man.
Yeah. And Mario likes Inez Cooper too, the kid who's the freshman.
Yeah, we have 2 potential options at center. Moving forward, once Ja'Kai.
Well, there's no way Ja'Kai goes and declares for the draft this year.
Oh no! I'm just saying for the future. You know what I mean? Yeah.
That's why somebody mentioned in the OBB. That's why you brought Alonzo Highsmith in to be like, hey son, relax, bro. Let's do your senior year. Let's chill on the going undrafted and having to fight to be on an NFL squad.
I fucking hope so, Tony. But honestly, man, very little of what I expected what people have been saying, discipline wise or this wise or that wise, actually happened so far. And I think that's really what's frustrating me right now is that and maybe it's just my negativity because we lost 3 games already and I feel like it's kind of like a lost season already. I didn't think it was going to be a lost season. I think that's my biggest problem right now is that I had higher expectations for this. If we actually come to play against MTSU and we've lost against UNC and A&M and we're 4-2 right now, I have a bit more positivity, I think. But that MTSU,
especially the ways we lost to A&M and UNC. It's not like we showed up for both games.
Yeah, you beat them statistically, and then you lose statistically to MTSU and lose on the field by a lot to MTSU.
Yeah, by a lot. Yeah. They just didn't show up that game like that.
Yeah.
Man.
I don't even want to fucking think, dude.
Okay, wait. Why don't we do this? What are some good things that we saw from this game? Some good things we can highlight moving forward.
That first half was awesome.
Colby Young.
Yes.
There you go.
The entire offensive game plan in the first half, man. Like TVD came out and threw the ball all over them. They had no answer.
We have a wide receiver, and Xavier Restrepo will be back soon.
And Jacoby George will too. Jacoby George had a good game against A&M in his only game that he played. So he's going to be big coming back. Down the stretch, that wide receiver room's going to get nice and full again. And that's what we need.
It will be good. Yeah.
Colby Tober, man.
Just in time to give me some hope for Clemson. Just in time to give me some pull me back in, man.
Just when I thought I was out, they pull me back in.
That's how it always goes, man.
Always, man.
I think Frank Ladson, has strung together a couple solid games. I think.
He just hasn't been the guy we thought he was going to be, which was the big body burner type wide receiver. He's been a good possession guy, a good safety blanket kind of.
I think that's the biggest surprise with him so far, honestly, because he was never really a possession guy before, and he's been that when you least expect him, he's there kind of guy. You know what I mean? And
he's a 5 for 60 guy, which is not what we thought he was gonna be.
I think
he was gonna be a 3 for 120 type guy. You know what I mean?
Oh no, not for me, man. I did not think.
No, not for 120. Maybe 3 for 3 for 90.
I read the Lance Roffers Bible too much to know that Frank Ladson was not gonna be the guy. So.
What do you say, guys? Should we get into Duke real quick here?
Yes, let's do it.
Okay, before we do that, though, I think we should pay some bills before I forget, because otherwise I'm definitely going to forget. So, shout out to AB and Jordan Nelson from About the Fans. They got the best Miami Hurricanes apparel and stickers. Make sure you use code CCI15 for 15% off. I had some. Oh, here we go. This is a new one that dropped for the About the Buckets. So, yeah, shout out to AB. And also, we are sponsored as well by SeatGeek. Next time you buy some tickets, make sure you use SeatGeek. They make buying tickets the easiest way possible. They have a 1 to 10 scale that lets you know when you're getting a good deal or not. Make sure you use code Canes Calling to get $20 off your first order. Definitely one of the best ways to help the show. Use that code whenever you buy tickets. It really helps us out. And also, shout out to Manscaped. Support for us is brought to you by Manscaped, one of the best in men's below-the-waist grooming. Champions of the world. Manscaped offers precision engineered tools for your family jewels. Manscaped just launched their 4th generation trimmer, the Lawnmower 4.0. You heard that right, the 4.0. Join over 4 million worldwide who trust Manscaped with this exclusive offer, 20% and free shipping worldwide with the code CanesCallin at manscaped.com. So, boys, let's get into this Duke game. This one's kind of weird for me. Duke is, I think, better than a lot people thought. They've won more games at this point than they did all of last season.
Yep.
Yeah. They lost a close one. North Carolina they just played, right? And they lost in overtime, I believe. And then Georgia Tech the week before. Not really sure what to expect in this one, but I think that's how I'm going to feel with all the games moving forward until I see a complete game. What are you guys expecting? Should we get into the Tony V keys?
Yeah, let's go. Let's do it. I got 3 keys.
Let's do that first. Tony V's keys. Let's go. Keys to the game.
I got 3 keys. Okay, let's go. Key number 1, defensive line. Defensive line has to continue to eat. Duke comes in with ranked second in ACC in rushing. They rush the ball for 206 yards a game. Their quarterback, Riley Leonard, is their leading rusher. He's the ACC's 8th leading rusher.
Jeez.
First quarterback. And Duke has only given up 9 sacks on the season. Granted, not sure they faced a defensive line that's had a guy like Akeem Mesidor on it. And a defensive line that can continually rotate fresh guys like we do. And good guys like we do. But they've got a couple studs on their offensive line. And spying Riley Leonard is huge. It's going to be a huge, huge key to this game. Keeping him in the pocket. I know Lance Roffers in his article right up this past week noticed that when Miami brought in their go for broke pass rushing package, where they moved Mesidor into the inside, that's when they broke a lot of the contain. And Grant Wells, I think that was his name, Virginia Tech quarterback, was able to escape and make some plays. They're going to have to, hopefully, Coach Steele really instilled in these guys to keep the lanes closed, force them up, and, keep them in the pocket. Because Riley Leonard will hurt us in the pocket, out of the pocket, and in the pocket, too, because he's a pretty good quarterback, this kid. So, yeah, key number 1, defensive line. Key number 2, TVD. This is another game he's going to have to – looks like we're going to have to he's going to be put on his shoulders to win. Although Duke's run defense is not great. It's average. They're 8th in the ACC. But their pass defense, their secondary, is 13th in the ACC in yards per game. So another game where TVD can theoretically, cook. So that would be nice to see. Like I said, the passing defense is 13th, just below North Carolina, who was 14th, and we know what he did to North Carolina. He nearly threw for 500 yards. So it's another. It's going to be another big TVD game, and then key number 3, the offensive line. If we get Ja'Kai Clark back, I feel a little bit better. But Duke has a defensive tackle, Dwayne Carter, who has 31 quarterback pressures from the defensive tackle position.
Jeez.
That guy's, he's a force. He's an animal. He's going to be a pro.
I saw something, I think it was according to PFF, that they had like the 26th best pass rush, I think.
Yeah, and it stems from the middle. It stems from Dwayne Carter in the middle. And as we know, center and right guard have been a problem recently with Ja'Kai Clark out. So, yeah, he scares me a little bit in terms of being able to run the football between the tackles. If we're able to control him in the middle, maybe with chipping with a linebacker or chipping with a running back, or if Ja'Kai Clark is back and healthy, we should be okay. But he kind of scares me. So the offensive line that's going to have to play well, man. It's going to have one of their better games.
Yeah. Man. How do you guys feel about this one though? Like, is it similar to me in terms of like, I feel like, I don't know. There's just this, I feel like now there's so much anxiety for me, like before a game, and just the uncertainty of like, what's going to happen, what's going to show up. I mean, we start off dominating we're able to run really well. Now we can't run. We can only pass. Like it's like comical. I don't understand, and I don't know what to ever expect. Like
I'm gonna be honest. I'm a bit more confident in this game than I was last week, honestly. And Virginia Tech isn't a very good team. Duke is a better team than Virginia Tech, but I think we match up really well against Duke in particular. Yes, they are doing much better than they have in previous seasons and everything like that. And Mike Elko is doing a very commendable job with the Dukies this year. They're still at 3-3, so same record as we are, I believe. Where's the one place on our defense that we've been playing really well this year? It's the run defense.
Yeah, for sure.
We have done a very good job of that. So while in years past, I'm very worried about a running type quarterback, I'm not as worried about it this year. Akeem Mesidor does a really good job of playing contain. Our defense ends play a really good job of playing contain, and we do a really good job of rushing that pocket all at the same time, which I really like against this team. Duke has also not played a very strong schedule so far. While they are 3-3, which is better than they've been for a while, this far, at least in the season, it's a very weak schedule for them. I think that their record so far is a little bit fluky. They are better than they were last year, definitely, but I think it is a little bit fluky. And ultimately, for our team, there's always something missing from our game, and that doesn't indicate to me that there's like a legitimate issue I think our offensive coordinator is an issue. I'll be honest with you guys. I don't really believe in our offensive coordinator, but I don't believe there's one piece of our team that is just so bad that that I'm seeing this one big glaring issue. I'm seeing it as just like, God, we didn't focus on this week. We didn't focus on this week. We didn't focus on this week. I do feel like eventually that has to come back to the median rather than the the pollers, the polls. Right. So yeah.
Right.
I think too. I mean, one of the biggest weaknesses on this Duke team is their secondary too, right? So
yeah,
I feel like if there's a game that TVD is gonna light it the fuck up, I think it's probably this game. That's the one thing that does give me confidence going into this game. I think I'm always going to have that feeling of uneasy before every single game this season until proven otherwise. But that leads me to, what do you guys have for the score predictions for this game? Ryan?
Oh, motherfucker.
Tony, you go first.
All right, I'll let Ryan think about it.
Oh,
again, also, shout out Greg Bush.
You're good.
Like I said last week, man, prove to me you can score more than 3 touchdowns in a game. 27-20 Canes. Same score I had last week for Virginia Tech. 27-20 Canes. Prove to me you can fucking score more than 3 touchdowns, man. Come on.
All right.
That's always that for me. I'm not so worried about the defense. They've had one bad game, and it was against MTSU. Honestly, for being like, they had bad moments against North Carolina, but they held North Carolina to 27 points. Should have won that game. They held Texas A&M to 17 points. Should have won that game. They've had one really bad game. So I trust Kevin Steele to come out with a good game plan. I maybe 70% trust the players to bring out that game plan, to hold it out. Will they spy Riley Leonard with Corey Flagg? I certainly hope not. I hope they either it's James Williams or it's Wesley Bassane, somebody else. I like Corey Flagg too. He's a great downhill linebacker. Like whenever we need him to stop, plug a hole, and he's there for it. But when you ask him to do things athletically, that's where they get into trouble. The thing always for me is, are we going to score enough points, man? Are we going to score enough points? And I didn't think it was going to happen this season that we would be thinking that, but are we going to score enough goddamn points?
All right.
If we can run the ball, I feel a little bit better. Like if I see we come out, the first drive is a good 50-50 split, TVD's cooking, Parrish is cooking, then I'll feel a little bit more confident.
Okay.
I kind of get leveled out after the first drive for each side. And then that's when I start to get a little, build a little more confidence. But yeah, 27-20, man. Prove to me you can score more than 3 touchdowns. Because you haven't yet.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm kind of in the same type of range. I'm at 31-17. I think this is a game they finally put it a little bit more together offensively. I think TVD cooks a little bit more. I think there's more consistency. It's not like boom or bust, like 17 points in the first half and then,
3 in the second half?
Yeah, or whatever it was. I think the defensive line is going to dominate. That's what we talked about. That's a strong point of our team, the strength defensively. I want to see how the secondary plays this game. I think that's something that, I've definitely wanted to see improvement with. I just don't know if that'll ever happen. But I just don't know how to predict these games anymore.
Let's be
real. I don't feel
Duke
confident
doesn't have
in anything.
Yeah. Duke doesn't have dudes on the outside either. So
the
secondary shouldn't
shouldn't
be
play
an
well.
issue.
Yeah, it shouldn't
play
but
well. If they maintain their discipline and not bite on Riley Leonard, getting out of the pocket and giving up a long touchdown pass. Yeah. Theoretically, they should play well because Duke's wide receivers there's no one that stands out on a page. There's a guy, they have a 4-year starter, but he's been there again for 4 years. So it's not the first time Miami sees him. But other than him, I forgot what his name is. But other than him, Duke's guys are just guys at wide receiver. So you would think our talent gap at the cornerback position versus their wide receivers shouldn't be a problem. But we thought that before.
Yeah. Ryan, what are you thinking for this one, man?
I say we cover 30-20.
Nice.
Okay.
30-20. Yeah. No, I think you're right about the whole red zone thing. I think we scored 3 touchdowns though. And I think 3 touchdowns, 3 field goals, and I just I don't really see how a team who is completely predicated upon the run is going to score anything more than 20. I think I'm being a little bit more generous with the 20. I'm just being a bit negative right now, because I don't know, something's going to fucking happen. We're going to figure out a way to let them score. I don't know. That's just how I feel. So that's me being negative in this game. So I hope I'm not wrong. I'm making a brisket tomorrow for the game. So
nice.
Let's not ruin it now.
You have at least one thing to look forward to.
Yeah, that's right.
It's a breakfast tailgate for us too.
Yeah.
Scrambled eggs and bacon.
Coming over to give me my birthday present, so I'm pretty excited about that. So.
Nice.
I asked for a Miami Dolphins polo, throwback polo. So.
Ooh, very nice.
Yeah. That's nice.
Yeah.
Oh man. Well, boys. I know I said I don't have the Reddit jar going on, but I thought of a random thing. I saw it on Twitter and stuff. So instead of doing the random Reddit thing, I want to ask you guys, like, what's the one opinion, one thing you believe in that you will defend to your death? That you like, you're on that hill and you're defending it. My thing isn't like a specific opinion. I don't know. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. But Chipotle. I hate people that insult Chipotle. Chipotle is my go-to when it comes to fast food. I will die on that hill, man. I don't care if they give me a coli. I will defend that place to my death.
It's worth it. The E. coli is worth it for Chipotle. I agree.
Makes you stronger.
Yeah.
Mine is the opposite for pickles, man. Fuck pickles. They're the worst.
Pickles?
The worst.
My thing is, don't let your kids sleep in your bed.
Ooh,
Never.
Hell yeah. Absolutely. I'm down with that.
Never let your kids sleep in your bed. Hell no. Don't do it. Don't do it. If you're thinking about doing it, it's so easy to. Because you feed them, and they're just sitting there, and you're just like, nah, it's fine. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Man, 2 years later, you're going to be like, man, fuck me from 2 years ago. Fuck that asshole. No, every single time. Every single time I've heard from anyone, and so I knew from a very young age, don't do it. And I didn't do it, and I'm so happy I didn't. Because I know people with 6, 7, 8-year-olds who still sleep in their bed. Don't do it.
You heard it here first.
Yeah.
Ryan with the word of advice. I love it. Well, boys, hopefully we have something to celebrate. What's kickoff is it? It's another AM game, right?
Well, for you, it's an AM game.
For you?
Well, for me, it's a lunchtime game. That's what it is for me.
Early lunch, my friend.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. I meant brunch. It's like I call it a brunch game.
It's a coffee game for you, bro.
Yeah, it's a coffee game for me.
Coffee game.
Yeah, no. I usually I play basketball in the mornings, so like I kind of miss the start a little bit, but I'll miss that first like scripted drive where they score a touchdown on us, so I won't be worried about that.
Or where Riley Leonard goes for a 60-yard touchdown run.
Yeah, exactly.
You pop
on third and 20.
The whole world burning down.
Oh my god.
But yeah, shout out Greg Bush.
Yeah,
if we
man.
allowed Duke over 100 yards rushing, we could be in for a dogfight. Not saying we'd lose if we do allow him over 100, just saying it a tougher win.
100 yards, my friend. They might do 100 yards in both halves. Yeah.
Yeah, and then also too, it's on Bally Sports. Last week, I literally watched the game on TikTok. I could not. There was nowhere I could find it. I tried to look at every streaming site, everything I could find. Nothing was there. I even have a Fire Stick from the guy that's a Miami Hurricane fan that sells them. Yeah. Couldn't find it anywhere. Apparently, Toast said though on the OBB podcast that you can find
7-day free trial.
Yeah, 7-day free trial. So I'm going to sign up for it tomorrow so I can have it for the next game as well, because I believe that one's going to be on there too. So got to do it.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Well, Ryan, we appreciate you coming on. We're going to have to have you on again. We're going to see you in person in a few weeks at the FSU game. So it'll be a good time.
It'll be an honor. Prepare your livers, boys.
There
2
we
weeks
go.
from tomorrow, boys. 2 weeks from tomorrow.
Absolutely. So make sure you find us wherever you get your podcasts, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Spreaker. Make sure you leave us a review. Use those codes that we have for you. You guys will save some money and support the show at the same time. With that being said, it's all about that. Yes, you, baby.
Let's go.
Hey.